Hi, today I'm going to do the look that I was wearing in my recent Guide to Nude Lips video because everyone said that they loved the look and they would love to see a tutorial on it. And it is one of those kind of universally chic makeup looks, just liner and a sort of classic makeup. So I think it sort of suits everyone. So I'm going to start with my base. I'm using Healthy Mix Serum Foundation and I'm just going to go ahead and do my base as I would usually. So I finished my base and I've done my concealing and some powder. I've edited it out because I just feel like you've seen me do this 100 times probably, and for this look really just do your base the way you would normally but have it look as natural as possible. So I've used foundation, I used concealer under my eyes, light reflective, and I've used regular concealer all around this area, and I did have one quite large spot which I've also put a bit of powder foundation on just to really set that concealing, and I've used just a regular loose powder just down the center. So I'm going to go in with a eye primer next. So I'm just going to apply this all over my lid area, and the next stage will be the basic eyeshadow. So because we're going to be going for more of a nude lip and a liner, the eyeshadow should really just be about sculpting and giving some definition to your eyes, but without taking over from the rest of the makeup. So if you are more cool tone skin and you suit the greys better, then go for the greys. I'm going to go more for a sort of bronzy colour, sort of golden bronze. So I'm going to use Maybelline's the Nudes palette, starting with this bronzy tone, and then I'm going to blend that in with some of the other lighter colours. So using the bronzy shade, I'm going to start just doing the socket, so it's a slightly darker shade. And that can be a little bit messy, it's fine. And then I'm going to use lighter shades, so sort of creamy and golden shades, just to buff that all in. And bring it onto the lid a little bit more as well. So it's sort of sculpting, but shouldn't be a million miles away from your kind of natural tones. So that sort of look. And underneath my eyes, I'm using the 3 shades mixed together with not too much on the brush, because it's more of a sort of top heavy look. It's going to be more about the liner. Really, this is just sweeping a tiny bit of definition under the lower lashes, but not much at all. So onto the liner, and this is really the most important part of the makeup along with the nude lips. Choose a liner that suits you, so in terms of colour. I think a really good tip for this is to put the liner on in black, even if you feel it's too harsh for you, and then buff it in with one of the eyeshadows that you've used on your eyes. So for me, I'll buff in with the sort of goldeny bronze, or you could buff in with a sort of grey tone. So you're softening it and adding a lighter colour, but you're still getting the punch of black. Another tip would be to get a mirror, a really good mirror, and you're looking down into your mirror when you're doing liner. It's really the only way to do it. And then just start right at the roots. I personally like liner when it's very thin at the inner corner. I think it looks good on all eye shapes like that. And I really just start by sort of pushing the liner into the roots of the lashes. I don't worry too much about the shape yet. I'm more concerned about how far into the roots I can get with it. So really just sort of pushing in there. Once I've got enough inside the roots, then I'll start to create more of a shape with it. So go really thin at that inner corner. And if you go too thick, don't worry, you can always just buff with a Q-tip. These really thin Q-tips are actually really good for liner. And if for any reason you don't like, you know, how it's looking, you can just go over the top. Once I've kind of mapped out along the lash line, just gets a little bit more liner, then I kind of map out more the shape at the sides. And I'm kind of really just going to do a little flick here. And for that, you'll need to look straight ahead in a mirror. So maybe look up from your looking down, look straight ahead, and just check that, especially if you're hooded, you can actually see where your flick is going. Once you're happy with that shape, then you can really, from about the center out towards the flick, you can start to thicken up, and particularly, obviously, you'll need to fill in this section here, which is sort of joining up with the flick. But don't kind of stress about it, just take your time, and if you want to, have a small Q-tip on hand with a tiny, tiny bit of remover, like hardly any, that you can just twirl onto any mistakes that you make. And because I'm going to keep this not too thick, it's kind of better to build up slowly, because once you've made it too thick, obviously it's harder to then kind of get your really nice shape back again. And once you've got the black on, then just use the brush. I'm using the brush that I went underneath with, and I'm using it with the dark brown and a sort of bronzy colour that I had initially used. And again, I'm going to start by pushing it into the roots of the lashes. So this is starting to soften the liner, but it's also taking the edge off the black. So I've just looked at the picture of me from the nude film, and I actually didn't wing it out as much as this, so seriously, just wing out as much as you want. I am going to thicken this up though. I think once it's all on both eyes, you can kind of go, oh, that could do with a little bit of thickening there, or maybe that could do with winging out a bit more, or you could decide to take the wings off if they don't feel like they're sitting right or they're just not you. So I'm going to give my lashes a really good curl. I'm using gel liner today just because I find it really easy to use for this kind of look on myself, and it does give you that extra playtime, so you can kind of go in and out and touch it up more. It's a bit more forgiving, I think, than just a liquid swoop. So I'm going to put plenty of mascara on, and this is really essential. So right down to the roots, and then start to, this is quite a thick one. I'm going to have to brush this out a bit. It's a really thickening mascara. And to keep it nice and chic, just keep combing through, because you want the lashes to look, of course, well defined, but quite elegant as well. And then I'm going to put some extra at the outer corner. I think the more mascara you can put at those outer edges, the better. And then to finish this off, I'm just going to put some along, just tight line under the eye there. If you can't do this, don't worry, it's not crucial. You may find it easier actually with a pencil, although I find gel just stays on more. Just gives a tiny bit more definition right at those roots. So onto brows, I'm just going to brush the brows down. I'm going to use one of these felt tip brows just to thicken up and give some more definition. I think a nice polished brow will work really well with this makeup. So I'm going to just put some strokes here and there and fill in any gaps, keeping those strokes really light, and keep brushing. You can obviously do this with a pencil or a powder if you prefer. So I'm just doing a little bit of gentle sculpting before I do the lips. I'm using this palette, the Flushed palette by Urban Decay. I'm going to come back and do the highlighting bit and the blusher once the lip is actually done. I'm going to use this palette because I think a little tiny bit of pink blush will look good, because the nude lip I'm using has a little bit of pink in it. But I think with this sort of very tonal look, you know, with the eyes and the nude lip and the liner, it's quite nice to have a little bit of sculpting, because it's sort of plays into that sort of light and shade thing. So for the lip, I'm going to use the one that I used in the nude lip video. This is by Hourglass, and I think this is kind of a good nude for me. It's quite flat and it does need a bit of blush. So before I finish it, just good to get the lips on, and you can sort of see, you can be guided by how much blush you actually need. So I'm just going to put some pink quite high on my cheeks, just to freshen this lip up. And then on top of that, a little bit of highlighter, just on the high points. Again, just to keep that all really fresh. And just well blended in. Always blend the edges of the highlighter. It makes such a difference. And then if you want to, you can use a little bit of lip pencil. If you're sort of cheating the shape. That's it. So that's the finished look, and if you wanted to give it a little bit more pow for evenings, you could put some lashes on the outer corner, or you could thicken the liner a little bit more if you wanted. You could add a touch more highlighter, maybe to the top lip or onto the brow bone a bit more. You can adapt it from day to night, definitely. And also just adapt the tones, obviously, to suit you. Check out the nude lip blog post I did if you're looking for a nude that will suit you. And try it. And do send me pictures, actually, if you do try this look, with the hashtag MyLisaLooks on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And because I love to see them. I love how it looks different on everyone and how you adapt it to suit yourselves. And I'll post them on my Pinterest page. So thanks for requesting the look. I'm so glad that you liked it. And I hope you have fun recreating it. Take care. Bye.